Hello, everyone.
Alex is back.
And we have a special guest.
Hello, everyone. This is Maxwell.
So we are totally just winging this. We are sitting on the floor in my office, and I asked Maxwell if he wanted to come on because he is somebody that is now hosting men's circles here at Mystic Movement. Do you want to go ahead and tell our listeners what that is exactly?
Yeah, I actually just finished it, and that's when you texted me. I was
like, hey, Maxwell, you want to come back here and record?
Yeah, I was like, oh, this is last minute, but okay, you know what? Whatever the universe brings to me, you know. Yeah, so I host a men's group here at Mystic Movement. It was something I always felt called to do, like I wanted to be of service. Having done my own personal growth and meeting everyone at Mystic Movement and even getting to know you, Tasha, and we've talked about how we can expand what we're doing, and you mentioned you wanted to incorporate a men's group, and that was kind of like something popped.
I totally manifested that.
Yeah.
Remember a while back, I was like, oh, now we need to get men in here who can host men's groups. And then Maxwell, I was like, oh my God, yes.
Yeah, and when you mentioned that, I just really felt called to do that. And where was I going with this?
Well, like, what are men's circles about?
Oh, yeah. So I just felt, there's this need for a group of men supporting each other and really holding space for each other without judgment, because in society, especially in this American culture, like I grew up overseas, there was like a completely different culture over there. And then moving here, I was really met with like this masculine, macho, toxic masculinity kind of culture. And I chose to go into the automotive trade. So like you can imagine that atmosphere. But it really like shocked me. And I was like, oh, this is my new norm. This is kind of the society I have to integrate with. And I learned how to integrate with that, but it always felt really not me. It was really foreign. And, traveling around the world and seeing different cultures and knowing like this isn't how men should be, should behave, made me realize that after doing my self-work and learning, like realizing that this isn't our true potential. This is a really like suppressed thing. Men should not feel emotions. Men should bury things.
Men shouldn't cry.
Men shouldn't cry, yeah. Or anything woman-like is not okay. And I was like, that is such a limiting belief. Like we have such potentials to be emotional creatures and to love and to share our emotions and to cry when we need to, like process things like a normal human being should, and it wasn't until further on in my personal development that I learned about the masculine and feminine energy that both men and women and whoever in between or whatever you identify with, we all have those two energies. And if you're too much in one side, too much in the other side, it has different effects. But I knew in this society, men were really suffering, and you can see that in this world where the suicide rates in men are really high. Yeah. Mass shooters are all male, like all these terrible things. Even world leaders and, the war going on in the past and even right now, like all these things were, I don't know, like exactly where they came from. But yeah. But there's just this like world of men that are hurting and not really seeing their higher self.
Because of how they were raised and what they were taught.
Right, exactly.
Well, yeah, and hurt people hurt people.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was going to bring something up. This happens, so you have to forgive me.
Oh, yeah. Hey, it happens to all of us. And think about relationships, too. It's like women are wanting that emotional side from men. But
yeah, like we're literally sitting here begging men to have empathy and compassion.
But a lot of the times, when you're unhealed or going through your own stuff, like you want that, and then when a man comes and shows that, then you're like, oh, what's wrong with this guy?
Right, there's that aspect too.
Yeah. I'm just so thankful that you are here hosting these groups now because so many men need it. Like men need it just as much as women, if not more, to be honest. I mean, who knows? But yeah, and that was a huge decision I had to make because I started out hosting goddess circles, all women, and it wasn't until, I think, how long have we been doing this now? Almost a year, maybe?
Yeah, almost
Men
a year.
and women. And that was really, that was kind of it was a hard decision at that time. I remember being like, seeing so many men come through the door here at Mystic.
But there was a couple of females that started to feel really uncomfortable because they have a lot of trauma.
And that was one of my fears, is we were going to lose some women, but I had to decide, like, it's time. Like,
well, and it really did help them grow from that fear as well.
Yeah, and now our circles are half women, half men, or more men, more women. I mean, every single one is different, but yeah, it's just much needed for everybody.
Yeah, and that reminded me of what I was going to say, is that, hurt men can cause so much damage.
Yeah.
And by men doing their healing, we not only heal ourselves, but we help ourselves, we help heal women, we help heal children.
Your parents.
A hurt man, like, the effects of that is large.
Big time. On that note, so what would you say have been, like, on your own personal healing journey? What kind of work have you been doing?
I don't want to, like, discredit myself.
Yeah, no.
But kind of like my awakening from this actually happened January of this year. Other people can look at it and be like, oh, that wasn't a very long period of time. But I felt like, and I've even been told, wow, you've come a long way in a short period of time. And I think, like, I was supposed to do that.
Everybody's journey is so different. And I've witnessed that with you too. You know?
And it actually started with a breakup that I had with my girlfriend at the time, because I was, like, unaware of things I was going through, but I was kind of questioning, why was I feeling a lot of anxiety, and to the point where it was, like, crippling. Like, one day I had to, like, leave work because I was just having so much anxiety, and I was like, what the hell is going on?
Because of your thoughts.
Because of my thoughts.
Yeah.
Like, I was like, what is going on? Because this is triggering me. So before the breakup, I was already starting to analyze that. Where's this coming from? And I was, hashtag TikTok saved my life, like, it kind of, like, learned my algorithm as to what I was interested in. And I started just watching a lot of videos on what relationships are like, or healthy relationships, mature relationships are supposed to look like. And one thing that caught my eye that kind of started this whole snowball is avoidant versus, I always forget the other one.
Dismissive?
Avoidant versus anxious attachment styles. And I was like, oh, I totally identify as an anxious attachment person, and then my girlfriend at the time was a completely avoidant, so I was like, oh, this is really interesting, because this is exactly what's happening to me right now. So I was like, oh, I want to learn more. And, like, that kind of just became my lifestyle, is just wanting to learn about me and about, like, what's going on. And it went from TikTok videos, which I still do watch, and it's kind of like my tarot cards sometimes.
Oh, yeah. Isn't it funny how whatever you're going through, literally you pop up your feed, and it's about everything you're going through.
Yeah, it'll be like 2 or 3 videos down, and I'm like, yes, that's what I needed to hear. Yeah.
I love it. Yeah, and Maxwell was just telling me earlier that, like, my TikTok videos have been hitting him pretty hard.
Yes, that's how it is for me, too. I get on Instagram as my daily therapy. I literally only follow, just positive stuff, spiritual stuff, and readings, whatever, and it always relates to what's going on in my life at that time. Yeah. It's so cool.
Like, I'm not a huge astrology person, but, like, every time, like when the new moons pop up, or like when people send me videos around full moons or new moons, and then I watch them, like the one you sent me yesterday. Last night. And I was like, oh, wow, yeah, this is exactly what I'm going through. And the person that was talking, it was really reaffirming, because I was like, oh, I'm already doing these things. But I think it takes, like, a certain level of awareness, because, like, I am a very introspective person. I don't just meander through life reacting from everything. I mean, I do to
Yeah.
I'm still human. Like,
We're all, yeah.
It still affects me, but it's like I question it. I'm aware of it. And I look back and I'm constantly trying to learn and level up, per se, you know, because I'm getting to the point where I'm like tired of the 3D world.
Oh, yeah.
You know, like, I don't know if everyone like is familiar with that terminology, but
pretty much we live in the third dimension. And do you want to explain that, like the difference between 3D and 5D?
So 3D and 5D, like Tasha said, we're living in the 3D world right now. This is a matrix. Mm-hmm. And what we're shifting into, which was why all these wars are happening, all of this, is we're shifting into a 5D dimension where it's the new Earth. Dolores Cannon has a great way of explaining it. It's literally going to be like a whole other Earth. And in order for us to get to that Earth, we have to ascend. And so that's kind of what the collective and the world is going through right now, which is we're trying to get to that higher dimension.
yeah, and we were just talking about this earlier too. Like, it's not just me saying this. I've, you know, through things I do in like retreats I go to, or just normal things that I come in contact with, like people that are more in their higher spiritual self, or shamans and energy workers, they've told me all the same thing. There is a coming of something's going to happen. We don't know what it is, but the old world's going to crumble, and it's going to require people who have done the work, who are in their higher self, in the 4D, in the 5D, to bring up this new world order. You know, even in the faith that I was raised in, I've since left it because, like, religion. I mean, I'm not bashing religion. Like, there's definitely a lot good in it. I didn't like the dogmatic part of it and the administrative part of it. But even in the religion I was raised in, prophesized this happening. So, like, it was really interesting, like, having that reaffirmed, and that there is a calling, and there is awakening of more and more individuals that I don't know what's going to happen, but in the future it's going to require these individuals to kind of
raise their vibration
and rebuild, or I don't know, restructure what we think is working now but is actually not.
Yeah.
Well, and that's also kind of what COVID brought about.
Oh, totally. I don't even say it was a pandemic. It was an awakening. It forced people to go inwards.
Absolutely.
I think it's it's part of what's happening.
Right. We're going to have another one of those for the rest of the people that didn't go through the awakening for COVID, unfortunately.
The whole goal of the fifth dimension is to get to a place of love and acceptance and forgiveness, and you know, get rid of the shame and guilt and fear, and you know, yeah,
it's really operating at your highest self and to your full potential. You know, like, personally, I see myself in kind of moving into the 4D, if not already. I don't, like, it's not.
Yeah. Oh yeah, totally.
I don't know exactly.
Yeah.
But I know that I'm just kind of tired of all the 3D crap.
Yeah.
I value people's journeys, and they are where they're at in their life, you know. I kind of just want to stay away from people
and you can choose
operating.
To do that.
Yeah. You know, and I think that's through relationships with other people, either like platonic or romantically. Like, I realize certain people are stuck in their trauma, so they act a certain way. Victim mentality, or like,
or just fear-based.
Or not doing the work necessary to grow and to heal from those traumas. That was really not attractive to me, and like not even attractive, but just kind of pushing my energy away. You know?
I always tell people too, like, you know, the more you raise your vibration, people are either going to match you or they're going to get left behind. You know, just keep doing what you're doing, and those people will fall off, and then new people will come in, it's like you have to clear space in order to make space for new things to come in.
New level, new devil is what I say.
Oh,
Yeah.
I've never heard that one.
Yeah, really trying to transcend this, like, the 3D-ness that's happening, because from what the relationship I just got out of, like, I realized that, you know, there was a point where they're like, oh, you're too good for me. And yeah, a lot of TikTok videos and stuff are just like, oh, if you hear that, run, right? But like, I'm a Scorpio. I'm super loving. I like to see the best in people. I overlook
Very
people's
passionate.
faults because I would expect the same thing in return, right?
Yeah.
Like, I'm not perfect, but I believe that I'm awesome, you know?
Yeah,
Like,
you have good intentions.
yeah,
Yeah.
I'm not saying this with ego, but it's like I have good intentions, you know, I'm working on myself. I'm doing these things outside of my normal routine. Like, I do yoga, I go to the gym, I host men's group. Like, I'm doing all these things, and I do, like, healing journeys.
And I think getting confident with saying that, though, too. Like, you know, you're like,
no,
oh,
I own that
not
shit.
from ego. I go around saying, I know what I bring to the table.
Right.
I know my worth. And it's not cocky, it's confident because I know what I bring to the table, you
Yeah.
know? Like, I've worked hard to get here.
Yeah,
and anybody who takes it that way, that's on them. You know,
Yeah.
it's like they don't know me then. Because anybody who does know me or who is on my level, like all you guys, like, hell yeah, girl. You know, we support each other and we lift each other up.
Yeah, and that's one thing I've been learning recently, too. Because, like, a lot of people, when they think it's cockiness or things like that, like, it's really the ego kind of taking the driver's seat. And I mean, I think we can do like a whole different episode on like the ego.
We do that a lot. We'll start to, okay, let's save that for our next episode.
Yeah.
But it's really just like a major projection that's being put onto you from other people. They see,
or even yourself.
Yeah.
right? It's like they see an aspect of themselves in you, or you see in somebody else, and it's triggering.
But get excited about getting triggered. I tell
Right.
It's an
like,
opportunity.
yeah, definitely.
Yeah, and I realized the importance of really like pausing and dropping into yourself, because I'm an overgiver. I'm an overlover. Like,
Yeah, we were just talking about that earlier.
to the point that I forget my own needs, you know, and it's important, to pause, drop into yourself, you know, whatever you need to do. There's different methods. Like in my men's group just now, like I was sharing pranayama breathing techniques, tapping, whatever you need to do to calm the mind and from being in a reactive state to like a more inward focusing state, and really listening to your body and realizing what are my needs, especially in conflict. And, you know, looking back, I wasn't great at doing that. I think after my experience, I'm definitely going to catch myself and practice those things. But, you know, like if you're talking to somebody and they shut down, my immediate reaction is like, oh, I've done something wrong, you know, or like, oh my gosh, like I've hurt this person. But I was just being my normal self. Something triggered in the other person. They shut down. And
had nothing to do with you.
Had nothing to do with me. So instead of like immediately being like, oh, I did something wrong, I'm a terrible person, you're like, no, wait, pause. Let me focus on me, drop into my body. What am I feeling right now? I'm feeling like this is not in alignment. This is not how a relationship should be. Like I shouldn't be just completely cut off and treated like shit, you know?
Right.
And I should have realized that at that point, you know, like one time, 2 times, okay, like then you have a conversation about it if it's kind of becoming a pattern. But if you can't even have a conversation, or if there's no
Repair.
There's no repair, or like the other person's not working on it, like that's kind of a clear indication that, hey, I'm not I shouldn't be here.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah, definitely.
Now, but if the person's like, oh, you know, realizes, can communicate, notices this as an issue, it's affecting you, wants to work on it, is working on it, like then, you know, you're like, okay, this is cool, you know, I can see us growing together. But if there isn't any of that, it's kind of just like, is this really where you should be?
I just feel like everything, and hey, I've been there too. I mean, I
Right.
used to like scream and fight with, my mom, my sister, my ex-husband, and not having an argument with anybody in over 2 years. It's just one of those things that there is no reason to raise our voices. There is no reason for it to get that bad. Yeah, you're still working on that one. I'm like, Alex, stop it. We'll be driving. You'll just go at it with Steven. And I'm like, Alex, calm down. But yeah, they're like, everything should be able to be talked out,
Right.
Right.
Just it's learning how to communicate, but you are going to come across people who don't know how to control their emotions or,
Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean,
it
there's-
takes practice.
Yeah. And it's also okay to not be perfect at it.
Yeah,
That's
Right,
part of the
and
human experience.
To accept people, that they too are not perfect, because like we ourselves are not perfect. Why would I expect anyone
Absolutely.
else to be? But that's the point of view I came from. It's like I love this person, even their flaws I love, but it hurts when it's not reciprocated or
Right.
they share this the same view. So it's like
Yeah, and
Right.
choosing to just have so much love and compassion towards people. If somebody just is a jerk, or an asshole, instead of fighting back, just looking at them and being like, oh, they're going through something.
Yeah, exactly.
Knowing
Right.
that, yeah, it's just, yeah.
Yeah, I realize like a lot of it has nothing to do with you. I
Yeah.
mean, like if you're a dick and the person's hurt, yeah, that's something to do
Yeah.
with you. But like even then, yeah, like you just said, like why were you being a dick? Where was this coming from? Like
Right.
yada yada. Having a healthy communication and talking it out and not getting personally hurt. Because you have this like higher understanding, like, okay, this person is hurting or something happened to them that's making them act this way. Like, let's try to understand that, not the
Yeah.
event itself, but what's behind it. And even as a
Right.
partner, I value, like, if there's an issue, you're dealing with it as a team. It's both of you
Against the problem.
against the problem, not the problem separating you two.
Right.
Some people aren't ready to face that.
Yeah.
A lot of people, but we all have a choice.
Yeah.
And you can,
Yeah.
it's easier to choose to just, go down that road versus doing the work, but it's so rewarding to
Yeah.
do the work and become a better person, because when you're becoming a better version of yourself for you, for the people around you,
Right.
etc.
And choice has been a really big word for me lately. Like, I'm realizing even happiness or how you view your circumstance, everything is a choice.
Yeah, it is.
You can accept your reality as just completely terrible, or you can see it as an opportunity for growth. And you can choose to be overwhelmed by it. You can choose to be sad, or you can choose to be happy and joyful. Like, I know it sounds easy and it sounds kind of dumb, but like
It's facts.
Yeah.
I always say to people too, because at the end of the day, we're all responsible for ourselves.
Right.
People will be like, he made me so mad. No, you made yourself mad.
Right.
And choosing to not let somebody affect you in that way. And I totally lost my train of thought. I was going oh yeah, that's where I was going. So, I choose to be happy. I'm happy all the time. And I still go through things and feel, but I like feeling happy. It
Right.
makes me feel good. I don't like feeling angry or sad. So, yeah, it's just a whole new world.
Yeah.
I'm floating up here all the time and I love it.
Yeah. But it takes like a really solid belief in
Yes.
the fact that you are worthy. You're born worthy. You're born divine. You're born
Yep.
to be loved. You're born of love. I know this kind of delves more into the spiritual aspect, but you're made of light. You're made for great things. The universe is in favor of you. Like, when you really believe these things to be true, when stuff happens to you, you're just like, okay, like,
Yeah.
like, I know the truth about myself, so I'm gonna choose this side. Because, like, what's the other side?
Yeah.
Pain, misery, self-guilt,
Right.
like all this crap that's dragging you down. And it's like, I personally, like, I'm tired of that.
Yeah.
It is not serving me. And I don't think it serves anybody.
No, and it's not anybody's fault. You know, we're programmed from, you know, a child, from the adults around us, and it's not their fault either.
No.
You know, how can they teach you how to love yourself if they weren't taught that?
Right.
I was
you know?
talking about this right in my men's group.
Really?
Yes. That's so crazy.
Oh, wait, tonight?
Tonight, yeah, I can, like, show you the...
Oh, my gosh, that's so cool. I love that so much.
Because the topic was about self-love, you know, and yeah, part of the paragraph was exactly what you said. Like, you know, like, we get these traumas because our caregivers did not give us the nurture or love that, you know, we needed at that time. But it wasn't their fault, because, like, they did the best they can.
They taught what they were taught.
And taught they were taught, you know. And it's like, it's actually our responsibility to heal and to transcend, and for that pain to stop with us.
Yes.
So we don't perpetuate that.
Yep.
And
We are the generational curse breakers.
Oh, yeah, definitely. And I think that's why it's so important, too, like, in relationships, not even romantic relationships, but, you know, friendships, siblings, you know, learn that other person, learn their upbringing, because everybody has trauma. And when you're in conflict all the time, instead of being in conflict, learn where that came from. Yeah, choose.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Choose to see past the conflict.
Yeah.
Choose to see the other side. Choose understanding. Choose communication.
Yes.
Choose love.
Yes, choose love always. Okay, so before we wrap this episode up, you just went and did ayahuasca. That is something I am dying to do. You haven't done it yet either,
No.
right? I mean, I've done everything else there is out there for the most part. But ayahuasca is something that I've watched so many documentaries on it. I've listened to podcasts about it. And you just, up and flew and went to a retreat and did it? We want to know about that. Like, how was it?
Yeah. Well, I can't share, like, too many of the specific
What
details.
can you share?
Yeah, I'll definitely share what I can share.
I mean, were you sick, throwing up, and, like, is it that extreme? Like, you...
Well, let's not start there.
Okay. Where do we start?
Well, okay, I always say, like, everyone should do ayahuasca, but everyone's not ready to do ayahuasca.
It's not a drug, it's medicine.
Yeah, exactly. Like, I don't... Like, yes, it's plant medicine. Yes, it's a hallucinogenic. But when done with intention and in ceremony, it's with the intention of healing. And, you know, whenever I do plant medicine, that's the intention, is to live your best self and have a spiritual journey and do inner healing work. Like, that's
Intention setting.
Intention setting, right? So, ayahuasca, I'm not super educated in it. I know it is originated in Peru. It's from the ayahuasca plant, which is kind of like a tree or vine, I believe.
Do you feel different since you did it?
Yeah, 100%.
Okay.
I've definitely felt like it's contributed to more of my spiritual awakening. But what it is, at least in a ceremonial setting, is you come to a place, there'll be a shaman and what's the word? Guardian. Okay, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Oh.
So there'll be a shaman, and then there'll be different guardians. And it's a very controlled environment with the intention of healing and spiritual growth, right? So, and the shaman everything's prepared. Like, even the week before you go, it's strict. And you can only be as strict as you want it to be. But if you want the full experience, like, you kind of need to prepare your body. So it was like no animal products in your food. You know, I was already vegan, so it didn't matter that much. But also, like, no caffeine, no sex. You really want to prepare your body to be like pristine to get the best out of it.
Yeah.
And so you set the intention, and, you know, the shaman explains everything, because everyone's journey is different, and it doesn't matter if you've already been. Each time your journey will be different. There's no time it's ever the same. And it's not only a personal journey, it's also a collective journey of the other participants who are there. And it's actually really amazing to watch, you know, when you can, to see, you know, how other people are going through their stuff. And you're offered the medicine, and you take it. And for me, it tasted like ground up
Dirt
and
feet.
cinnamon, and like it wasn't the best thing to ingest.
That's what I hear.
But you know, you're like, okay, you know, I want to do this, I'm here, you know, so you kind of just choke it down, right? Then about an hour later, you're offered the second dose. And then
Are you feeling anything in that hour?
some people do.
Okay.
And for me, it kind of took until the second dose, a little bit after the second dose, for it to actually start having an effect. And during your journey, yeah, there's what they call purging. And there's different ways you can purge.
Okay.
You know, you could cry tears, right? You could sweat. You could throw up. Or you can shit. Not,
Yeah,
you,
no,
you
I've
don't
heard,
like
yeah.
shit in your pants. You know, you're...
Well, hope not. But I mean, I heard that too.
It might happen. I don't know. It didn't happen.
Yeah, because your body's purging all of that. Yeah.
Right. You can be assisted to the bathroom. But yeah, it's part of, and how it's seen is like it's being, whatever you're bottling up, it's being taken out of you. I mean, yes, you're also being poisoned. You can see it from that perspective, but your whole reason for going is to purge these things that are no longer serving you, these limited beliefs. And what ayahuasca does is it really peels open your consciousness and just goes into your subconscious and just takes out the trash.
So cool.
And everyone's experience is different, so I can only speak for myself. For the first part of it, it was a very visual experience for me. At first, it was just, I have a very like nature theme in my life, so it was a lot of vines and flowers, but pixelated and tessellated and
Are you typically
fractal.
a visual person? Like,
Yeah.
okay. Like you can see visual pictures in your mind and stuff? Okay.
Yeah, so there was that part, lots of color, it's really hard to describe. But like we have like an old broken like TV or computer screen, you know, those like
Or those little, you know,
RGB
things you used to
colors.
look in as a kid and twist them.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
What were those called? Like something scope or something?
Kaleidoscopes?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Kind of like that. The only time I've ever seen images like that was when I
Yeah.
did DMT. Like,
I didn't have like a kaleidoscope like circular effect, but there was definitely like really vivid colors within a nature theme that was like pixelating and fractalized. I don't know if that's right, but like
word now.
yeah, and tessellating, you know, and that was like the visual initial trip, you know, and then what happens is, at least I call it kind of like the second stage, is after your visual experience, you start having your more emotional and spiritual experience. So like I went on quite a few different like what I call micro journeys, because I would go through a journey, be done with it, come back to, and then
A different one?
yeah, and then I kind of
How
fall
long
into
did it
a
last?
different.
Like,
I don't know.
Oh, really?
Don't have
you
a
don't?
track of
Okay.
time.
There is, yeah, time doesn't exist.
Yeah. So, do I share what I went through? I don't know.
That's up to you.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, I share everything.
Yeah, I just
I mean, if it's personal to
Yeah,
you,
if that's up to
Yeah,
you. We can
it's-
save that for
that's
another
fine.
yeah,
time.
because it's like what
Yeah.
I experience is not going to be
Right,
something somebody
exactly.
else experiences. But
Yeah.
when a lot of the visual and your emotional journey is really brought up by what you're feeling and thinking. Like, I don't know if that makes any sense, but if you're feeling something, even in the subconscious, it'll be brought out and you will be processing that.
Okay.
Yeah. And the more you surrender to it, the more benefit you'll get out of it. And the more you resist, the more you will suffer.
Would you do it again?
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We definitely got to do it.
But everyone's different. Like, I've met someone that did it 30 times, and a few times it was just like, for them, nothing really came out of it. But the time, that I was with them, like, what I witnessed was they got out so much happened.
Yeah.
And so
just depends where you're at.
It
in your
really
life,
depends,
too.
yeah, and it really depends on your journey. But overall, it was a really magical, beautiful, and spiritual experience. Like, even the food that we ate was like so good, It was all plant-based, but like our chef that was there, her artistic ability and the food she made was like a part of her.
Yeah.
Like her expression of her individualism and like her love, and you could just
taste the love.
taste it. Like, I know, like, you're on medicine, but like even the people you're with, like, you were all there for the same reason, and just this is even before the medicine, just everyone's love and like community and support. And I know for me personally, there was one man there that it was his first time, but it was my first time too. But like, I was in a state where I was like, I'm doing this, I'm surrendering. I also was with someone I knew, so like that helped, who's also done it a few times. But I was kind of felt drawn to this one man who was kind of terrified of doing it and wasn't sure if this was where he's supposed to be, and like really questioning himself. And I just showed him a lot of support and love, and like, just, I don't even remember what I said, but I was just really helping him process what he was going through, and just being there for him, giving him space and doing what I normally would do, and he was like really appreciative of that. And
you were meant to be there for
exactly
him.
yeah, like,
we're always where we're meant to be at the right time.
That was meant to happen for sure. And just even watching his transformation through that experience was really beautiful. And we did it for 2 days. So the first night we did it, and then during the day, on the next day, we did wachuma, which is a heart opener.
Oh,
and it's like, it's also a plant medicine from cactus. And then again the next night we did it again. So it was really interesting why you do it for 2 nights, because like the first night I went in, my intention personally was like, I wanted to learn my purpose and like my true self, and like I got exactly that. And then the second night going in, you kind of like take what you learned from the previous day, and I was like, well, I want to like learn how to have the courage and like to like live that purpose, and then again I got exactly that.
Wow.
So awesome.
Yeah.
Oh, I want to do it so bad. Oh my gosh, yes. Well, thank you so much for sharing, and hopefully you will want to come on some future episodes and talk about, I mean, we all, like, we're the high vibe tribe around here. Like, we all...
Definitely.
I like that, the high vibe tribe.
High vibe tribe. Yes.
High
And
vibration.
we love meeting like-minded people, and yeah, we're so here for you. Please leave comments or questions if you want us to talk about certain topics. Anything else? Anybody last minute words from you guys?
No, I think it's really important to find your high vibe tribe, and to really build a community of supporters. And, that's something I've recently, through my journey, I wanted to do, because it's like, I didn't grow up around here, and after going through my divorce, we lost many friends, which I realized were just, weren't really my friends. And making good friends, making bad friends, along the way, but really coming to an appreciation of having good people around you that see you for who you are, who are also doing their work, who can really, like, you can really lean on in time of needs. They can lean on you in time of needs. And you're just open and honest.
Raw, authentic.
Authentic. And you guys just we just like love each other
Yeah.
for who we are, where we're at, and there's just no judgment,
None.
no making you feel unworthy. Just
Right.
everyone just gets it.
Yeah.
You know, because it's like,
We've all been there. We've all been through it.
And we still go
We
through.
still- yeah.
yeah,
Exactly.
and
We're
like
human.
these are the people you need to surround yourself
Yeah,
with.
if you don't have people like that in your life, I'm sorry, but you need to get new people.
Yep. Out with the old,
And-
in with
Yeah.
the new.
But in order to attract those people,
Yeah,
you need to be doing the
absolutely.
work yourself. You need
You
to
gotta
be,
be there.
elevating yourself, growing, raising your vibrations, and thus you will attract people at those vibrations.
Yeah, so don't go searching for new people.
Yeah,
just
you won't.
work on
Just be.
yourself. Yeah,
Yeah.
just be.
Be, grow, learn,
Yeah.
improve.
Yes, love that. Thank you for
Yeah.
sharing that. That's a perfect way to end. So, thank you all for listening, and we will see you soon.